here's the question, okay? Who, right in the chat, who wants to be an employee for the rest of their life? Yay! Or who would like to make some passive income and actually get out of the rat race? Okay, that's what this call is about, is how to get out of the rat race. And so let me talk to you about these four quadrants here. Okay, so under the employee quadrant, we all know what employee is because we've all been an employee at some point in time. Being an employee is not a bad thing. It's a great way to have a source of income. except it's not a great way to have a source of income if you're sick or you have a head injury or something happens and you can't work a day. All of a sudden, you didn't get paid for that day. And what if that day becomes a month? What if that day becomes a year? What if that day becomes 8 years? Okay. At what point in time will you find yourself in dire straits? So I want to explain to you how to become into this section here called an investor. Okay. But just want to talk to you a little quickly about what each one of these sectors are. Okay. So in employee sector, you're employed. You get paid for an hour, you work an hour, you work an hour, you get paid for an hour. Okay. But other things about this section that are kind of interesting is the mentality in this section. Okay. People tend to buy doodads. You go, well, what's a doodad? A doodad is what the bank calls an asset. And the reason why the bank calls it an asset is because they receive in money from you every month, every day, whatever the variable is. Okay. And so that's what an asset is it receives money. So in your particular case, what is a doodad? A doodad is an outflow of cash. It's not an influx of cash. And so things like house, a car, a boat, a motorbike, a snowmobile, okay? As an example, these things are not assets on your ledger. They're a debit. They're an outflow of income, okay? But on the bank's ledger, they are an asset. And that's why they ask you, hey, what assets do you have? And so we misunderstand the wording of that. So what you need to do as an employee is stop buying doodads and by getting your assets to work for you. And so I'll explain a little bit more about how that works, okay? So many times people will go from employee into self-employed. For example, you've got a painter contractor or a plumber or somebody, a labor person, and they'll go, well, I can do it better than my boss does, and he is ripping people off and he's not charging correctly. And so you take it on yourself. And you do make more money because you take it on yourself. And you do a better job because you take it on yourself. And that's a great way, is people tend to migrate into self-employed, and they do that. Other people that fit into this category are doctors and lawyers and accountants. They run their own little business, and as a result, they're self-employed. But again, in this section, if you don't work a day, you don't get paid that day. Okay, so people tend to kind of migrate over to this section over here. It's called big business. And in this section, how you get into here is often people will buy a seat at a council. Okay, so they've got shares of stocks, or they got shares, and they're on the board as a result, and they get paid a passive income as a result of being on the board. This is how big business works. Okay, other ways to get into this category are things like buying a franchise. As an example, you could buy a franchise for McDonald's for a couple of $1 million. Yes, it's a big output of money, but you have a business system that works for you. And they work with you and go, here's the best location of where you need to put your building, of where you need to do. So, okay, actually, McDonald's is a real estate company, just to be clear, which sells hamburgers. But that as a franchise, you have a system that they explain how to do stuff and you work together. So the third type of people that go into this category are word of mouth advertising, relationship marketing. So in that types of system, it's a system. You have a small entry fee that most people can then afford to get into at that point. However, so let's bypass all of this whole entire and go directly to investor. And what an investor is someone who uses their money to work for them. Okay, that's what an investor is. And they make their assets make money for them. So, for example, if you have a house and you rent out the basement, or you rent out a room in Airbnb, as an example, all of a sudden your doodad has now become an asset because you're now receiving funds every month. You're now receiving funds every month. And that is the most important thing, is that you are growing your wealth. And here is why, okay? So to get out of the rat race, to become financially stable, your passive income has to exceed your expenses, okay? So your passive income, when you first start out, will be way down here, and that's okay. You're doing something to improve your situation in life and where you are. And at some point in time, your passive income will be greater than your expenses. And as a result, you are now out of the rat race because your bills are paid. Now, write in the chat, what amount of money for you on a daily basis would make a difference in your life? Would $1 a day make a difference? Would $100 a day make a difference? Would $500 a day make a difference? Would $1,000 a day make a difference? At what point in time would you, oh, this is the break-even point. This is where my expenses are paid, and I can go on and do things in life that I need to do, that I want to do. I want to spend more time with my grandkids or do whatever, go on more trips. I don't care. Whatever dreams and visions you have, this is the way you get them, is by your passive income exceeding your expenses, because then you are paying for your dreams. You're paying for your dreams and expenses, okay? So here's one of the problems that is occurring in the world, okay? We look at the purchasing price of the US dollar. Now, this particular chart is a 100-year chart. I just want to explain something to you. This chart looks exactly the same as if I were to pull up the chart for Argentina, or the chart for Venezuela, or the chart for Germany in the 1920s. This chart is the same chart, but for them, it's occurred in 20 years. In 20 years, this purchasing power has gone significantly down. In the US, it's taken 100 years. And where do you think it's going to go in the next 100 years? Yeah, that's right. We will continue to have a problem where your ability to purchase stuff goes down. And because your ability to purchase stuff goes down, life is more expensive. I'll give you an example, okay? So in 1974, friend buys a Stingray here, okay? And he pays $6,000, okay? Seems like a very reasonable price for a car, I think. And today, if he were to spend that same amount on the same quality of car, it would be $69,000 US. That is a significant change in price. Okay, the dollar is going so far so down that your purchasing power is, you don't have the purchasing power that you used to have. And I'll give you an example of why that is. Look here, gold, 34 ounces of gold for that car. Same type of car, same value, same quality, current to the time, 25 ounces of gold. It's because gold is a stable commodity. Gold is a great place to store your income. Okay, silver, another great place to store your income because it's a good commodity that holds its wealth over time. Okay, here, let me talk to you about Bitcoin for a second. So let's pretend that Bitcoin existed in 1974. And if it had existed in 1974, it would have cost you 6 million Bitcoins to buy this car. But buying this car today, it would only cost you 1 Bitcoin. Why is that? Is because Bitcoin is the best source of storing your wealth. There are 3 ways to acquire Bitcoin, and I'll explain to you why in a moment Bitcoin is the best way to store your wealth. There are 3 ways to acquire Bitcoin, okay? Number 1, 3 legal ways to acquire Bitcoin. Number 1 is you can buy it. Just like you can buy gold, and I would encourage you to do that, I would encourage you to buy a little bit of Bitcoin every day. The reason why is because you are converting your worthless fiat currency into something of value. The second way to acquire Bitcoin is, for example, running a business. You get paid in Bitcoin for your goods and services that you're providing. And that's a great way to acquire Bitcoin. Here is the best way to acquire Bitcoin. I think you can guess what I'm going to tell you. I think you can guess what I'm going to tell you. The best way to acquire Bitcoin is by mining it, okay? Why is it that Well, and I'll talk about mining Bitcoin in a couple of seconds, but I just want you to look at this chart, okay? These are companies that are acquiring Bitcoin, lots and lots of Bitcoin over time. Why is it that all of these companies acquire Bitcoin? Okay. Why is it that all of these countries acquire Bitcoin? The reason why they are acquiring Bitcoin is the same reason why you should be acquiring Bitcoin, is because it's the best asset anywhere that stores wealth. Here's also some other reasons why. Is because, number one, Bitcoin has been the top asset performing asset of the past 8 of the past 11 years. And by the way, Bitcoin only is 15 years old, okay? And so in the past 11 years, Bitcoin is the best performing asset. This is one of the reasons why all of these companies and countries are acquiring Bitcoin, is because they know where it's going. They know what's going on with it. What's going on with it? People, experts, not me, experts in the wood, for example, Kathy Woods or Robert Kiyosaki, okay, or Michael Saylor. These people are telling us that Bitcoin is going up in price, 1.5 million by 2030. That's very probable. 500,000, next year. Yeah, that's very probable. Right now it's 70,000. Okay, so if we look at Bitcoin, why is it the best place to store wealth? There's lots of reasons. Okay, number one, the price of Bitcoin is going up. Okay, you look over the long term. Yes, it has times where it goes down, and that's okay. That's okay, because these are great times to trade, and you sell high and you buy low. These are the great times to trade, and that's a different conversation entirely. But over the long run, the price is going up. Okay, why is the price going up? Because there's a couple of reasons why that is. Number one, every 4 years, Bitcoin, the ability to make Bitcoin is halved. Okay, and I'll talk about how Bitcoin is created in a moment. And so every 4 years, the ability to make Bitcoin reduces by half. And so the work that has to go into creating Bitcoin doubles every 4 years. Okay, every 4 years. The other reason why Bitcoin is a good storage of wealth is because as the supply of it that is going down, the demand of it also, by the way, is going up. Notice this chart is going up when the chart just a moment ago about fiat currency was the exact opposite, going down. Okay, and so this Bitcoin is a scarcity. There's only so much Bitcoin that can ever be produced. So because it's scarce, this makes it a valuable commodity to be able to use as a medium of exchange, as a medium to be able to negotiate. Okay, some other things about Bitcoin that is useful in the mining process, okay, is how Bitcoin is mined. Okay, I'll explain this at this point in time, how Bitcoin is mined. What happens is this is a mining rig, a mining machine, one mining machine, a mining rig. Okay, so a mining machine, what it does is it detects movement on the network. This here is a graphical representation of all the Bitcoin that is moving from place A to place B on the network. Okay, and so what happens is the machine has to detect that movement, and it sees that there's movement, and so what it does is it picks that job up, and it has to perform a mathematical computation. The first computer that performs the mathematical computation correctly then posts it on the network saying, yes, this Bitcoin was moved from place A to place B. As a result of doing that posting, for example, this block here was $10 million. $10 million for this block here. There's a fee that is attached with this transaction. And so the little fee was 3 million sats. Okay. The miner who picked this up and posted it That's the miner that earned the fee. Okay. Every other computer that that picked it up but didn't process it first, their posting comes up as confirmed, 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 confirmed. Okay. And so those confirmations are great, but they don't get paid for the work. And that's just the way it is. As that work is being processed, every 10 minutes, this block is revealed. And the entire block, as part of this process, Bitcoin is created. Okay. So all of this Bitcoin that is created and the fees get dumped into the mining pool. And only the computer that put it there can pull it back out. Okay. This is very significant. Only the computer that put the transaction that posted it gets to then pull out that amount of money that they earned. Okay. So this means that you have to be part of a mining operation to be able to pull money out of the mining pool. Now, I talked about a second ago how you can earn Bitcoin 3 different ways. You can buy it. So you say, well, how am I buying it then? Well, the way you're buying it is retailers buy the Bitcoin from these miners, and these miners sell it to them. And those retailers buy bulk, massive amounts of Bitcoin, and they then, like Qcoin or Coinberry or Kraken or there are many different exchanges that buy bulk Bitcoin, okay? And they buy it and then retail it to us at a higher price, of course, because they're a retailer. And so that's how, if you want to buy it, that's how you acquire it, is from one of these retailers. The way the retailer acquires it is they buy it directly from the miners who put it there. And that's the only people that can pull it out of the mining pool. So this is where we come in, okay? Because there are innate flaws in the way that mining is produced. Number one, if a mining machine is, all it does is churn the speed, full speed ahead, and it's 100% electricity cost, and it churns full speed ahead. But if it's not picking up the right jobs, and it's only performing confirmations, it's not making any money. Okay. And so this is how we come in. This is a bit booster. Okay. What this does is, I'll explain about this. The way this works is this becomes the brains of the operation. Okay. And so this detects movement on the network. This is connected to the mining farms. I'll explain that in a second. But it detects movement on the network. And what it detects is, with all that movement on the network, what it says is it sends these jobs to the miners to do. And so they simply receive a job from the booster, and they produce it sends them the easiest job first, then the next harder job, then the next harder job, and then the hardest job. Okay. And so by firing off these easy jobs first, they receive those commissions for those easy jobs first. And these harder jobs that get processed last, they take a long time to compute, to register. And so this process allows the mining machine to become more efficient, because now it's only working when it's told to work, because otherwise it's just full speed ahead, full electricity. Okay. And as a result, this machine helps the mining machine become more efficient to process more effectively these jobs. And I'll bring it back to the other statement I made just a second ago. Those jobs that don't produce any money, it doesn't send those jobs to the mining machine. And so our mining machines become more efficient because they're only processing jobs that make us money. Whereas let other machines do the confirmations. Let them do the confirmations. They're not getting paid. Why do we not want to? We want to get paid. Right in the chat. Who wants to get paid? Yes, we want to get paid. And so that's why we have a mining machine. Okay. So the way it works is the mining machines produce Bitcoin. they produce a certain amount of Bitcoin, and it fluctuates, goes up and down. This is the thing about mining, is that it produces different every day. It's a little bit different. It's not the same amount. It depends on lots and lots of variables. Okay. But the way the contract works with us and the mining farms is anything extra above what they normally do that day is our contribution. And so our contribution, we then share back to them 60% of the Bitcoin that's created, mined. 30% goes to us, the booster owners, and 10% goes to the company. Okay. So the way that works, since we started in April, well, in March, we started in March, we have produced Bitcoin. And we've produced, as an example, on the 26th, up to the 26th of June, we have produced 100 Bitcoins in this contract that we have with the mining farms. Of those 100 Bitcoins we've produced, 60 of them went back to the mining farms, because they're the ones that, doing that work. 30 Bitcoins went to us, the booster owners, and 10 went to the parent company. Okay. So let's compare this business with any other business. Like, who has been in business for themselves? Write in the chat. Have you ever been in business for yourself? Have you ever done a more brick and mortar business? Just yes or no is fine. I've been in business for myself. I used to be an IT consultant, and I didn't. Okay. My buying my business was me pounding the doors, talking to people, and but education, that was my contribution to the cost for my business, $50,000 education in computing. Okay. But other people, they get into business other ways. Like, they might buy my mom and pop shop, and that's okay. So let's compare being in business, a regular business, to being in business for yourself with Bit Boosters. Okay. So you've got $50,000 worth to buy a business. That's not, that's very realistic. You've got monthly costs. So you've got electricity, you've got product, you've got employees and their drama, you got stuff. Okay. And these, by the way, these are all money leaving the system even before you start making money. So this was the startup, $50,000, but every month you still have that $1,000 that you need to dish out to stay in business. So your monthly estimated is, let's call it $1,000. Yeah, that's pretty typical. Your yearly income is $12,000 as a result. Now, let me tell you about BitHarvst business. Okay. So you buy 50 boosters one time, you paid $50,000. Now you don't have to buy them all at once. You could buy them incrementally, one shared, or you could buy them one booster at a time. That's okay. Whatever it is, let's say you buy 50 boosters, that's $50,000. Okay. But you buy the booster once, you never ever have to pay for it again. It's bought. You bought it. It's making you money. You don't have any membership fees. You don't have any monthly costs. You don't have any production costs. You don't have any you don't have any of that. None of these extra monthly costs. It's a one-time fee that you bought the asset for. It's an asset making you money. Your daily income, $200. Your monthly income, estimated $6,000. Your yearly, $72,000. Put in the chat, who would sooner make $72,000 as opposed to $12,000? Who would sooner make that for the same output cost? Like, I'm going, wow. For me, for my background, yeah, this is super great. So let's compare it to real estate. Okay. So in real estate, for me to have a passive income with real estate, I'd need to have 5 properties, let's say, working for me. Okay. If I were to hold on to the properties, but let's just compare it to one property. Okay. So one property, $100,000. Again, you don't have to start off with 100 boosters. There are people that do. There are people that have bought 1,000. They walked into the store, walked into the office, said, I want 1,000 boosters. And everybody goes, wow, 1,000 boosters. But it's because this is the best business in the world. It truly is. And for multiple reasons. And I'm going to talk about those. So one property, $100,000. In my case, I have to buy another property and another so that I could have a passive income. or 100 boosters, same price, and now I've got a passive income. But here on the real estate, you got to fix it up. You got to advertise. And here's the thing is you can't control, if you're planning on selling it, you can't control when it sells. You can only control at what price you want, not even at what price it sells at. You can't control that either. You can only say, well, this is what I'd like to have for it. Or you could put tenants into it. But by the way, so if you have, you know, a property, you've got every month export of costs, an expense. Every month you have now an expense that's costing you money, that's not making you money if you don't have a tenant, or not making you money if you're waiting for the sale. It's an expense. So let's just say your monthly income is $500. So for me, again, if I want to have, you know, a passive income every day that I need to have like five units. That's a lot of money to dish out. Yearly income, $6,000. Or again, who would choose boosters over properties? Now, here's the thing. Because you've got an asset working for you, it's working for you. This is an asset. Buy your asset and then turn around and do properties, because you now have a stable income making something for you. That's making money for you because it's an asset that's working for you. One-time purchasing price, no monthly costs, no membership costs, no upgrade costs, nothing. No, because your girlfriend is crying on your shoulder costs, nothing. Simply one cost, one time. 100 boosters, $100,000, same price. Daily income, about $400. Yeah, that's a nice income. Monthly estimated, $12,000. Yearly estimated, $144,000. Who would like to have 100 boosters on their working for them right now? And by the way, I haven't even talked about talking to people. I'm simply talking about you doing what you need to do to get yourself out of the rat race. I'm talking about what you can do, because I'm only in control of me, not in control of anybody else. And so because I'm in control of me, I look for things that can change my finances, that make a difference to me. So let's compare one Bitcoin. Let's say you've got one Bitcoin in the bank. Okay. Next year, it'll still be one Bitcoin, but you probably spent a little bit because you needed some money. So it probably isn't one Bitcoin, you know, a year from now. But let's just pretend it's one Bitcoin. Next year, still one Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin has gone up, and that's really great. It is really great. But it still isn't generating money for you, other than, you know, as it rises, you can pull a little bit out and you still have the same price. So let's compare buying one Bitcoin to buying 70 boosters, okay? 70 boosters generate you about 1.823 Bitcoins a year. So this is the important part, okay? 70 boosters you make 1.823 Bitcoin a year. Next year, you would still have 70 boosters and you would make another 1.823 Bitcoins. The year after that, you still have 70 boosters and you make another 1.823 Bitcoins. Who would like to have 1.823 Bitcoins coming into their house every single year? Write in the chat. Who would like that? I know I would. Now I said next year you'll have 70 boosters. That isn't quite true, because next year I would take some of this Bitcoin and put it back onto boosters, and I would have 80 boosters, 90 boosters, 100 boosters, whatever it is. Next year I would have more. And that means the year after that, I would make more Bitcoin, because as you compound your account, it pays you more. And so the way I grow my account is I buy a booster, and then I take out a little bit of the funds that grows. I buy another booster from within the account. I haven't added any more money. I only bought the booster the one time, and I've not added a cent more. I bought the booster. It generates money for me passively. Every day, I pull a little bit out and buy another share. Every day, I pull a little bit out and put it in my pocket, because you need to be paying yourself along the way. We're in business for ourselves. Who wants to be in business for themselves? Who wants to make passive income? Okay. Let's say that you've got money and you want to raise your pay. What do? Just buy a few more boosters and you increased your income. Okay. So here's a chart showing pretty much if you buy one share, that's the minimum that you can buy is one share. It produces about 30 cents to 50 cents a day. And it produces about $12 a month. Like, is $12 a month what makes a difference in your life? Is $60 a month makes a difference in your life? Hey, Andy, in the chat at some point in time, I asked, tell me, just quickly look through, what's one of the numbers that someone listed as what makes a difference in their life? One of the numbers.
We've got 5,000 a month, 3,000 a month, and 3,000 a month.
Okay, so 5,000 a month. Let's use this one right here. 6,000 a month, 50 boosters. So those numbers, 5,000 a month, between 30 and 50 boosters. Okay, most people, and I agree with you, most people between 10 and 50 boosters, that makes a difference for them in their lives. Okay, again, you start where you're at. Like, you look at your finances and you figure out, where are you? Like, you need to know where you're at, first of all. And if you can start at 10 boosters, yeah, that's a nice start, because making $30 to $50 a day, that means you can buy a share every other day. That's really nice. Okay. And you're pocketing money too at the same time. If you can start there, great. Some people I know, like, she walked into the office, bought 1,000 boosters. She's getting paid $3,000 to $5,000 a day, $120,000 a month. 2 weeks later, she walked back into the main office, bought another 1,000 boosters. Okay. People that understand how to make money. I'm trying to tell you how to make money. People that understand it, they jump on as quick as they can, because here's the reason why, is because there are only 500,000 boosters being sold. This isn't an infinite number. It's not an escalation. It's not a exponential compound curve. It's not. There is only 500,000 boosters, and when they're done, that's it. So you got to get your boosters when you are. This is so start where you're at. Okay, start wherever you're at, and if you can't start, well, like I said, I started with one share, and I'm growing my account. I'm up to 3.5 boosters, I think, now. Hey, Wendell, I noticed your hand stuck up. Come, what would you like to tell me about? Would you unmute him, please?
Yep. There you go, Wendell.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
So it just hit me right when you said it, looking at the slide. So we know Bitcoin is infinite. I mean, it's not infinite, it's finite. There's only a certain amount, and there's only 21 million for the whole world. Now put that in perspective. There's only 500,000, not 21 million, not 11 million. There's only 500,000 bit boosters, way more finite than even Bitcoin. The thing that makes it for us, that gives you your own printing press in your family, a fraction of that fraction of Bitcoin is all there is for the whole world. Speed is the key. That's all I want to add. Oh my God, this is so crazy.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, passive income, this is the best passive income ever. It truly is. It's the best company I've ever seen. I've done lots of research into a lot of different companies, and I'll give you those reasons in a moment. But if you want to change your destiny, change your life, then you need to start today. Do something. But if you want a pay raise, just buy another booster, another part of the booster, and you have a pay raise. Okay. So let me talk to you about the company now. Okay. The reason why this is the best company in the world. Okay. There's a lot of reasons why. Number one, it's a real company. Hey, I learned this 2 days ago. They are in the process of preparing to be listed on NASDAQ. Do you know what that means? Nobody lists on NASDAQ that's a scam. Nobody lists on NASDAQ that's a Ponzi scheme. Nobody. because they have to go through rigorous accounting processes, people looking at their books, they have to get a consultant firm to look at their books, so someone else, and confirm this is what's going on. And it's an arduous process to get listed on the NASDAQ. These guys are going through that process right now. Okay, that's really cool. Here's something else that's really cool about this company. They have their MSB license. Okay, the MSB, I'll show it to you in a second. MSB comes from fintech, and it's the right to work with finances. So they have their MSB license. If you're not a real company, you can't have an MSB license. You can't apply for it. Okay. Here's some other things about the company. You can walk into the door. They're in Kuala Lumpur. Their office is listed on the webpage. You can walk in the door, no big deal. Talk to the receptionist and have an interview with the boss, have an interview with people. People come in every day. In fact, this is how we became aware of this. My friend was sitting at his hotel in Kuala Lumpur having lunch, looks up, looks across the street and sees BitHarvst on the door. And he's kind of a curious guy. What's that stand for? So he walks in the door. He goes, hey, what do you guys do? And they told him all about it. This is how we became aware of it, is because he just simply walked in the door. Okay. This is a picture of a server room. There are 3 of them. Each one of these racks, there are one little square here holds 20 boosters. One row holds 100 boosters. One section holds 1,000 boosters. Okay, so there's a few thousand boosters in this room. There are 3 offices, three rooms at different parts of the city, and the reason why there are 3 is because they for disaster recovery. So if something happens, they're prepared. Okay, Andy, tell me about what you do to research companies. What makes a good company financially from your point of view? I know you do a lot of research into this kind of stuff.
I do, yeah, and I learned how to research companies. I've done it for about 35 years as a business consultant and under different hats on behalf of clients. But what I'm going to go back just a little bit further, because what most people do is they don't bother to research the company. All they do is they look at a platform and they see the platform doing what it does or saying what it's going to do, and they say, oh, I can make 5% a day for 5 days. That's brilliant. I'm going to get into that. And then when you try to convince them that's a scam, they don't like it because they've already set their heart on making 5% a day for 5 days. So most people don't even look at the company; they just look at the platform, and then once they decide that's something they want to do, they justify it. So they make their decision based on emotions, and then they try and justify it with facts. But unfortunately, with a lot of platforms, there are no facts behind it. There's no company behind the platform. So I always start with the company, and I want to know right from the very beginning, how was the company formed? Who are the owners? What's the repute of the owners? What's the repute of management? What's their legal status? What's their legal standing? What are they licensed for? What are they insured for? Because you can have a perfectly legal company that's set up for real estate, but that doesn't mean they're set up for to do forex trading for you, for example. They're a real estate company, so you want to look into the activities that they do. Can they prove they do what they say they're going to do, or what they say they're doing? Can you actually look at the trading records? And you have to be a little bit pedantic on some of this information, because we've seen big long lists of trades that people supposedly are placing, but when you actually go to those exchanges or go to find the trades that they're doing, they don't exist. It's just numbers they put up on a computer screen. So that's not easy to do, but you've certainly got to verify the real world activities that the business, the company is carrying out. You also want to look at the company formation in terms of, do they have enough staff to do the job? But a lot of these platforms online, and one guy with a good idea and a few $1 million in a Trezor device in his back pocket and 2 part-time coders. He's got a good idea for a website, so he puts up a website. People give him lots of money. He wasn't clever enough, and that's not an insult to these people, because you know, when you're forming a company, you have a lot of people with a lot of diverse interests, a lot of diverse backgrounds, a lot of training in how to set these things up. And so the fact that one guy with a good idea can't set up a company that can survive some of the things that come down the pipeline at him isn't a surprise. So it's not saying these are bad people. It's just that they weren't able to set up something that was able to stand the test of time through the changes to sorry, that video is putting me off, Walter. Would you mind stopping that?
Sorry, I figured I could just run into the background while you were talking, because I don't want to hear what they have to say. I was just simply, sorry, Mike, go on.
No, it's okay. It's just I'm easily distracted. My brain's always busy.
Sorry.
Yeah, so you know, when you're looking at a platform, look at the company first. Make sure the company is doing what it can do, that is set up properly. If they're a reputable company with approximately 50 or 60 people working for them, then you've got to have an HR department, you've got to have a training department, you've got to have a legal department, a compliance department, and so on. And you can very often tell if you look at the terms and conditions on a website or the privacy policy. You can tell if there's a proper compliance manager in charge. This thing will be 27 pages long because he's got to justify his existence. If it's 10 pages long, sorry, if it's 3 paragraphs long, it's not a real company. They wouldn't put themselves in that sort of line of fire, because what happens is the regulators come in later, get that privacy policy and use it to hang people. Okay, so the compliance manager doesn't want to be the one that gets hung, so he's going to make sure everything is in there, all the rules, regulations, all of the acts of Parliament or acts of Congress, whatever it is, they've all been cross-referenced in there, and so just that alone, you can tell whether you're dealing with a good company or not. A proper company won't be afraid to tell you where they are, where their offices are, okay, and allow you to go and visit. A lot of these businesses I look at, I look it up on Google Maps, and I say, well, if you're going to run a multi-million pound trading company, you're not going to do it from a 2-bedroom flat in Croydon above a chip shop, and people don't realise that these checks are very, very simple to do. When people give their on their website, they place references on the website, and you just right-click on those pictures and check with Google Lens, and you find that same picture, who's supposedly a happy customer for this investment company, that same picture is being used to sell everything from boots to cars to hemorrhoid medicine, all over the internet. It's not difficult to do these checks. It's just that people don't do it because they want to believe the hype they've been given. Now, this business is, BitHarvst is a pretty good business. When you talk about it, you go, that's all hype, not hype, but hype. But it stands scrutiny. You can go to Kuala Lumpur, you can go around the offices, you can meet the people, you can see the accounting staff, you can meet the engineers and the development people and look in the booster farm, and you can actually see. Walter will show you in a minute if he gets to it. Is he'll show you how you can prove that the Bitcoin that's being produced by your booster is going through the mining farm, through the into the mining pool, and then the next person who gets hold of that money after the mining pool isn't the company. Once you bought the booster, your Bitcoin has nothing to do with the company at all. It's between you and the mining farm, and so you can take your Bitcoin directly out of the mining pool. Okay, so that's something people miss. The company don't actually give us any Bitcoin. The company sell us a booster. They plug the booster in and hook us up to a mining farm, and we make, our booster makes the Bitcoin. Okay, so it's nothing to do with the company. The company can close it after you've made your Bitcoin. The company can shut up shop and go home. You still have your Bitcoin that you earned in the mining pool. Okay, so I know straight off the topic a little bit. I've gone from how to look at a company to make sure it's a good company into why BitHarvst is a good company. But yes, I overstepped there, Walter. Sorry. back
That's
to you.
okay. Thank you so much. No, I appreciate it because many people don't do research into companies like you do. Okay, you actually really do your due diligence, and I appreciate that. So what I'm gonna do is here, I'm gonna play a little bit video, and I'm gonna talk while she's talking. So this here that you see on the back end is the connection. That's the VPN connection between the boosters and the server farm. This screen here in the back end, and every single one of the transactions that are going on, those are listed here. So you basically have to have permission to come in and be in the server room. Okay, so you can't be in there by yourself. Right now, she's going to pull out a rack. Like I said, there's 20 boosters per rack in here. Okay, and sorry, 20 per side. And you can that's where the booster is being housed. Now, the reason why I like this as an IT guy is because I don't have to have my clients be babysat. I don't have to have that problem between the chair and the keyboard. I don't have to deal with that. The booster is housed right here at the main office in Kuala Lumpur. Okay, and you don't have to worry about your internet connection. You don't have to worry about lack of, like I saw Wendell said he wanted 500 boosters. I agree with him. I want 500 too. But I don't have 500 USB ports that I can plug my booster into. Okay. And so internet speed, number of ports, lots and lots of reasons why they don't and because people can buy it online, anywhere online, and it's not being sent out. So let me go down here and we're going to pull up live the booster. What this is live. This shows that he's got his active devices, and this is the number of terahash that he's got on his account. And so what they're going to do is they're going to pull one booster off the rack. It'll then display here as disabled, and then we'll go down and we'll have a look at what the account actually shows. And so just let me fast forward a bit again. So they're going to pull it out, and so they've now pulled it out. All right, so right here we go up and right there. So it now shows as inactive. Okay, and so this is because the boosters are interacting with us on our apps. Sorry, it's not an app, it's a web page. They're interacting with us because it's detected to the network, and it's interacting with the server farm at the same time. And so it comes up as disabled. And when they put it back on, it then a couple seconds later, then comes up as enabled, because in real time, this device here, each device has its own IMEI number, just like your phone. Okay. And every device is connected to your, it's logged to you. Okay. So right here, next page will then show as it comes up. It'll then show as disabled. Let's just give this a couple seconds here. There we go. So right here, this is his device right there, because it now shows as disabled, and at the front of the page, it would show as disabled as well. And so this is the device. So same IDI number, and in your back office in here, you can download this invoice. If you live in a country that certain taxing system, go talk to your tax consultant. I'm not a tax consultant. Go talk to your tax consultant. Explain to them that you've got a business that you've started. Here's some invoices, and you'd like to make some write-offs, and he'll figure it out for you, because it's a real business with real invoices. Okay, so there it is, disabled. And then when she plugs it back in, a couple seconds later, just let me speed back up. There we go. And so she'll plug it back in, and then a couple seconds later, it will then list as enabled back on his device. And so here we are at the top, and it's now active again. So this is really cool. Okay, so anybody can go into the office and talk to people. You have to have permission to go into the server room, and so that's why she was touring them around the server room, is because you have to have special permission. This is our CEO, Logan Lee. He's got a finance background, and he was running a little hobby mining farm himself, and he wanted to improve everything I've just described to you. He wanted to improve that, and this got him in touch with Lenny, who was one of the guys that worked on Ethereum. And so he's a really smart guy, and he was running this software in his lab for the 2 years before these guys met. And between the financing and the brains, this is how we've got a really good company. So if I go to the next page, this is he's had many interviews with BitHarvest, with Binance, 4 that I'm aware of that are recorded. Binance doesn't interview schmucks. They don't interview fake companies. They don't interview Ponzi schemes. They interview real companies with real people, real CEOs. And I suspect one of the reasons why they are interviewing is because they want us to list on their exchange. We at our expo, so they're on the floor talking to people. This is how we actually got our second contract with the mining company. Is our CEOs on the floor talking to people at the exposition in May, and in that exposition they won an award for the best technology contract, the best company. Okay, so here's some other stuff. Just to let you know, you can buy a booster anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter because it's not shipped anywhere. It doesn't matter where because there's nothing to intercept at the border. There's no opening of the package and you have to pay an extra fee for you because someone opened up the package on you and decided to see what was inside. You know, the nice service that the mail provides for us, eh? But there's none of that. It's just simply an application that you're able to log in, create an ID, and you buy it. And from IT's perspective, again, I don't have to babysit my clients. They just buy it themselves whenever they want, no pressure. They buy another one because they like and they've had a good experience. Okay, so this is a picture of our MSB license. This is the number right here. So 310002702605994. Feel free to look it up. It's that they received it from FinCEN. This is the right to work with financial services. Okay, again, only real companies have this kind of stuff. Okay, just some final pages. We in the timeline. Okay, we've got lots of stuff going on in the timeline, and there's lots of they're out in the real world talking to people all over the place. Okay, they're going to New York in sometime this month. Okay, so that'll be real cool. There's people all over that have come and visited the office, please do come to the office, come check us out. Okay, different types of events that we've been to in this past year. We started in March, and we're gung ho. Okay, here's a timeline for you, just to kind of keep up to page. There's only 500,000 boosters being produced, and that's what's done right now. Is those are for sale. Over this next several months, we've got we're working on a relationship with MasterCard so that you can have connected to your account the MasterCard and be able to withdraw funds directly. Speaking of which, why don't I put on this video because you might find this very interesting. Okay, so let's put it over here and I will expand it. I'm just going to speed it up just a little bit to around here because she talks about how to withdraw. And so what this is a video that talks about
BitHarvst cold wallet.
Yeah, okay.
Scroll down again to identify this.
Here, just let me explain what this is. Okay, so every single transaction on the network where Bitcoin is moved from place A to place B is logged. That's what the mining process is it logs this event. So if you go onto the net, you can link in and view these transactions. So what she's going to do.
BTC input. Click on the sender address BC1QKG, which is also a BitHarvst cold wallet, having sent 0.499 BTC. Continue scrolling down, then click on the sender address BC1Q4LM, which sent 0.5 BTC. This is identified as the mining pool wallet. By scrolling
right there, you saw it via BTC. That's the mining pool that we're pulling from. Okay, so from your own account, every time that you pull up, every transaction that you get, you can log on to the net and then click on the links, and it'll take you to this page, and you can see the pathway where the Bitcoin came from. Again, if you're not connected to a mining pool, you cannot pull from the mining pool, and we are. Okay, it's your Bitcoin that's being put there, and you're the only one that can pull it out. That is super awesome from my perspective. Okay, and so having the ability to withdraw directly from a credit card is golden. Okay, next thing on the stage is our token is going to be right now it's used as part of the setup process and it's burned in that process, but in the future it's going to be mined. Okay, and so we will be mining Bitcoin and our BTH token, and in the future it's going to be converted into a coin and then traded on like Binance. And this is probably why Binance is interviewing us, is because they want to trade our coin. So that, by the way, all right. So we make mining profits, and I think that's pretty much the end of this presentation. Is there, well, just briefly, okay? So up until now, I've only talked about passive income. If you have clients or friends or whatever that you're having a good experience, and you go, hey, my friend, would you like to have a good experience as well? And you talk to them, and they decide to buy a booster directly from the company as well, you receive some commission on that as well. And that's really nice. But that is an extra source of income that is simply extra. It's bonus. What your machine is doing, that's the thing that is important. That's what makes a difference in your life, because you have control of how many machines you buy. Hey, is there somebody that would like to stick up their hand and give an experience how much they've enjoyed BitHarvst? What's stick up your hand, tell me your experiences. Who's had a good experience? Oh, okay, I know everyone has had a good experience, but don't everyone stick up your hand, because we can't. Just a couple of people that would like to say, hey, this was what has happened to me, and this is how I've enjoyed my time here.
Well, I'll chuck in a couple of words here, Walter, and that is that many of you know that I've been on the quest to find some of the best online businesses on the internet, and I've rejected many hundreds and narrowed it down to just a few that I think are worth considering. A BitHarvst, of course, is one of them. In that process, I was looking for something to do with Bitcoin mining, and I've been through trading and arbitrage and all these ROI scams and everything else. But I was specifically looking for something to fit the slot of Bitcoin mining. And I looked at probably about 30 or so in the last year, or a year, 15, 16 months. And this is, well, one, this is the only one I found that's really legitimate, in the sense that it's got your best interests at heart. You get what you earn, not all of a sudden there's 18 other ways for the company to take money from you that you didn't even know about before you signed up. But it's the only one that really works, in the sense of you know, you can see that every single day you make Bitcoin. Not, well, some days you make some Bitcoin and some days you don't, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. You know, so that's it for me. I've been looking for Bitcoin mining because I think we should all be doing something to increase our holdings of Bitcoin every single day, just as part of our overall financial strategy. If we're not doing that, then we don't have a complete financial strategy, in my opinion. So I was looking for something, and I found this, and I am overjoyed that I did. I'm having a great experience, and you know, things go well. It never moves as quickly as you want it to move, but you just keep on persisting, and one day you'll say, "Wow, look what I've done! This is brilliant."
All right, thank you, Jack. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate your comments. Is there someone else that would like to make some comments? Someone else that's currently in the room that would like to make some comments? Because someone coming in to the room and then sticking up their hand and wanting to make comments makes me go, you're out of here.
Yeah, we've had some fun games with the idiots, the internet trolls tonight.
Well, if that's it, then I will shut off the live Zoom, and we will continue doing our training in the back office. Sounds like it's it. So, hey, just for the recording, take action. Okay. It's important to take action. If you don't take action, you are losing income every day simply because the dollar is going down in your ability to buy stuff. Okay. So take action. Go create your account. Talk to the person that invited you to this call and go take your account. Go create it. Try it out with at least a shared booster. Have a good experience. Look at your finances, figure out what works for you. Okay. And then have a good experience, make some withdrawals, and away you go. All right. You guys have a good night, and I will turn off the recording.